during this early window of development, it is so important that we take advantage of this time period because this is how we lay the foundation for higher order thinking. While your child is in this window of rapid development, why not take advantage of it so that we can lay a strong foundation so they have the keys to success? 90% of your child's brain develops by age 5. To develop means to change, and your child's brain is changing at rapid speed. In fact, your child's brain is developing at least 1 million new neural connections every second, which is faster than any other time in their life. And so during this early window of development, it is so important that we take advantage of this time period because this is how we lay the foundation for higher order thinking like motivation, problem solving skills, emotional regulation, the ability to understand and manage and communicate our emotions, as well as communication skills and planning and delayed gratification. Now, it's not to say we don't have the possibility to develop these skills later in life, but it becomes harder. And why do that? Why not, while your child is in this window of rapid development, why not take advantage of it so that we can lay a strong foundation so they have the keys to success? So that's what we're going to talk about in this episode, are 5 really important skills to start teaching your child by the time they are 5. Now, the key word is to start. This is not to say your child should be proficient. They should be a master at these skills. No, what I am saying in this episode are these are the skills to pay attention to start teaching your child these skills and planting those seeds so that when they transition into their school age years, they are set up for success. So let's dive into it. Number 1, how to share their feelings in respectful ways. Now, emotional intelligence is the foundation to a lot of other skills, including socializing and pursuing and doing well in academics. And so it is a skill that I teach at length inside of my parenting program, Positive Discipline Academy. But here are some quick tips to get you started. Number 1 is during infancy and early toddler years, you want to start to help your child identify feelings. So we know that when we have a label for how we feel or an experience that we have felt, we are better able to understand ourselves and the world around us. So it's so important to put a name to your child's feelings. And so you can start as early as infancy, as introducing them to baby books, baby faces with different facial expressions. Babies love to look at faces, and they're also learning from your different facial expressions and the things that you naturally already do. So it's just about maximizing those everyday experiences, and you can add in books as a way to help further their knowledge. And so you point out like, ooh, baby's feeling sad. Ooh, baby's angry. Brr, mad baby. And those kinds of things. I'll go ahead and link some of my favorite children's books for babies, toddlers, and preschoolers that focuses on the topic of feelings. But it's so important to start this process early and then just continue to consistently talk about feelings. And you can use children's books as a way to normalize feelings, bring up the topic in a more approachable and engaging way. Number 2 along those lines is to start to identify the feelings of characters in books, movies, TV shows. Regularly identify their feelings. Or when you're out in public and let's say another little one is having a hard time erupting in a tantrum, you can say, oh, baby is sad. Yes, they're sad right now, or they're really mad. And then you want to point out your child's feelings whenever they're feeling mad or sad or scared. Just look for those opportunities when they're experiencing an intense emotion, especially anger, sadness, and fear. You want to help them have words. You want to help them have language for those feelings so that they can start to understand what it is they're experiencing in real time. Now, you can do this process whenever they're trying to communicate a need. Let's say they're whining, they're crying, tantruming, or otherwise trying to express how they feel with sounds, their body, and their feelings. So you want to help them learn how to communicate their feeling with their words. And so you can say, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated right now, or you're really sad. Is that right? So you want to check in with them about, if you've labeled that feeling correctly, and then you teach them how to say what it is they're trying to communicate. Oh, you need help. You can say, help, please. Or you would like a turn with the toy. You could say, turn, please, or toy, please. Or you would like a snack. It seems like you're hungry. You can say, snack, please. So you're just trying to plant those seeds of communication, how to bridge the gap between having a need and feeling a really intense emotion, and then clearly communicating that need so that people can help you and everybody is on the same page. Now, again, these are higher level skills that are going to take time, right? Development takes time. Development happens in the relationship, right? Development is relational. And so whenever you're taking time to slow down the process, help your child identify what they're feeling and what they're needing, and then teaching them and coaching them on the words they can use to get their needs met, it's not that they're going to say it right away, but you're planting those seeds, and over time they will learn it. So let's say you have an early toddler, they're barely talking. It's not appropriate to ask them to repeat what you say, but you can still say those words so that they're picking them up. And then as they get older, 3, 4, they can start to use those words, and you can start to pause, give them a chance to say it, and then end the moment with lots of, encouragement. And yes, okay, thank you for telling me what you need. And now it's so much easier to help you, and things like that. Okay, number 2 is how to understand and assert their body boundaries. This one is really important, and as your child picks up this skill, it's going to cut back on a lot of frustration and a lot of interpersonal conflict, because they're going to have the words to be able to assert what they need, and they're also going to be able to pick up on what other people are trying to assert and respecting other people's body boundaries. So as they're interacting with you and their siblings and peers, you want to get into the habit of training your brain to identify what your child is trying to communicate, and then giving them the words to communicate those needs, along with what I said in point 1. But you want to be very specific. So a lot of the times, commonly what kids need in social interactions is they need more space. They need either physical space, like they need some separation, some distance from somebody else, or they need emotional space, like they want to be left alone, like just leave me alone, I'm trying to focus here. Or they need a toy, they want a toy return, they want something like that, or they want to play with another child. Oftentimes it looks like the child is focused on the toy, but really they're focused on the child and they want to interact with the toy. Bonus, points, or like slight tangent, for early toddlers, a toy is seen as an extension of themselves. So commonly what you'll see is they didn't want the toy until somebody else wanted the toy. And then they're like, okay, give me that because that is mine. That is an extension of who I am. It's very tied up into their identity, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to us looking on the outside, but to them it makes a lot of sense. That's mine. Give me that back, right? So you want to help them find the words so they're not yanking things out of people's hands, pushing, getting aggressive, yelling. Help them find the words to get what they need, or at least to try to get what they need and to try to communicate. Other times kids need for another child to stop bothering them, or again, they want more play and interaction, but they don't know how to ask for that in a healthy way. So in general, it's crucial that we do our best to observe the interactions as they're happening so that we can help each child identify what they need, what they're trying to communicate, and then also helping the other child who's on the receiving end respect that person's boundaries. And so let's say that a child is getting really frustrated, or they're even getting aggressive. They're trying to push another child away. You can say something like, it seems like you need space. You can say, space, please, and then you help the other child respect their boundary. Now, let's say a child is not able to articulate their boundary. Either they're an infant, they're a toddler, or an early communicator. Then you want to help other child understand the social cues, right? It looks like she doesn't like that. She's turning red. She's getting fussy. She seems upset. I think she's asking you for space. And then you just help the child respect that other baby or child's boundary. But it's really important. Help children understand social cues. I mean, it's easy for us to look at the cues and be like, look, Like, pay attention. But for kids, they're still learning this, especially if you have a little one. And so just taking time to point it out very explicitly and then take the lead in communicating, okay, what does that person need, or what are you trying to communicate? So some things you want to teach your little one to say is space, please. I don't like that. No, thank you. Please give that back. Those kind of things so that they can learn how to assert their boundaries. And then it's also equally important to help your child understand how to respect somebody else's boundaries. And so you want to teach them the concept of space and body bubble, and that everybody has a right to their own space, and that we don't want to get into somebody else's body bubble without asking for permission. And there's a great resource, there's a great book called My Body, What I Say Goes, and it talks about, how our body is special and we are the bosses of our own body, and also we need to respect other people's body boundaries. And so check out that book. I'll go ahead and link it down below, and also some other ones that I like around this topic. But it's so important to plant these seeds early on so that they get to school and they are successful and they know how to make good friendships and be a good friend. So the number 3 thing to start teaching your child before they hit the age of 5 is various coping skills. There's a lot to say around this topic, and this might be a whole topic, an episode in and of itself. But I think it's so important for us parents to understand and remember that we are our child's primary emotional regulator, especially during the early years. Our child's primary way of coping is us. It is called co-regulation, where they learn how to self-soothe, regulate their nervous system through being in relationship with us, right? And having that secure attachment. So it's so important that we're attuned with their cues and we meet their emotional needs as best as possible, right? This is really how we set our child up for success, is having that healthy and secure attachment. And this goes back to meeting their emotional needs and being their source of comfort and coping. And so when we talk about helping kids develop coping skills, sometimes I roll my eyes because I'm like, we are their coping skill. And it's not that we want them to be overly dependent on us, but especially in the early years, we are the ones that are tasked with helping our child develop coping skills. And over time, of course, as our child gets older and they mature and they become more independent, they're gonna learn and acquire new ways of coping. But I just want to add that caveat because I don't think we speak to that enough in this space. Nothing regulates a child more than having a supportive, caring adult in their corner. This is not about forcing a child to practice a coping skill or forcing them to do something in the moment when they're already having a hard time, right? Coping skills are best when they are self-initiated and not forced. This is about introducing our child to various coping skills, building upon what they already naturally love to do and are soothed by, and most importantly, modeling what does it look like to regulate our emotions. And this comes down to focusing on ourselves, right? Focusing on our own patience and regulating our own emotions, and then showing our child in real time what that looks like. So some ideas for coping skills to start to introduce your child to is the idea of taking a break, right? Being able to step back when a task is overwhelming or too frustrating in that moment, and teaching them our brains can't think clearly when we're frustrated. We have to take some time to calm our bodies down first so that we can think clearly, problem solve, and face the challenge. It's not that we're giving up, it's that we're taking a break. And this is often what our bodies need most so that we can move forward. Number 2, going to another area when someone else is bothering us. This is a major coping skill, right? Let's say their sibling is bothering them, teaching them they have the power over the situation to move their body. And then if the other sibling is following them when they don't want to be followed, then that's on us to help the other children respect the child's boundaries. But just teaching your child, you can get up and leave, right? You don't need to be in this space. You can leave and go to another space. Number 3, asking an adult for help is a big one versus responding impulsively and with anger. Number 4 is taking care of their bodies, understanding their body cues, understanding what their body is trying to say, and then meeting their needs accordingly. Also engaging their senses. So anytime we engage in our child's sight, their hearing, their sense of smell, taste, touch, we are engaging their senses, and it has a calming effect. So whether that's playing in the water or kinetic sand or slime or smelling something yummy or touching something that's soft and soothing, this is going to have a calming effect on your child a lot of the times. Another thing is movement. Movement is a huge coping skill. So whenever we're dancing, stretching, doing yoga, running around, moving our body in some way, we are coping. We are practicing a coping skill. And also creativity and distraction. And sometimes these things go hand in hand, but whenever we can use creative outlet to express ourselves, express how we feel, that is going to also help with coping. And sometimes we need to distract ourselves. Sometimes we need to distract ourselves in something healthy, like reading a book or working on a project or talking to somebody about something else, so that we can come back to whatever it is that's bothering us a little bit stronger, right? Sometimes we can't solve it all at that one moment, and that's okay. It's the only problem is when we over rely on distraction and we don't actually deal with the problem at hand. Now, do you notice something about those coping skills that I mentioned? There are things 9 times out of 10 you already do, right? You're already moving around, dancing and grooving. You're already practicing art. You're already, taking baths and doing water play and other kinds of creative things. Like, these are the things you already naturally do. And that's what I love to emphasize to kids, right? Is that coping skills are things that we're naturally drawn to and that we love. And yes, we will slowly introduce new things, but a lot of the times we already kind of have a sense of what we like. And so it's about helping our child understand that these things help soothe their bodies. They help calm their bodies. They help soothe their nervous system and meet their needs for expression and creativity and joy, right? That these are already the things that they're doing. And so helping them just make that link in their brain that whenever I do this, it has a calming effect on my body. Coping skills are also very highly individual, meaning what is going to help me cope is not necessarily going to be the same for what helps you cope. That's the same for your children. Different children have different needs and interests, and also for the time of the day or a different season, right? What used to help me might not still help me now, and that's okay. And sometimes we got to be creative. But again, these are things that you're already probably naturally doing. So you don't necessarily need to run out to Pinterest and get all of these ingredients and activities. I mean, I love a good Pinterest moment. And if you're feeling inspired or your child is really feeling inspired, by all means, but don't feel pressured to do that because it's really not necessary. So the best ways for teaching coping skills is to practice when everybody's calm. Again, model how you cope, how you calm your body down, and follow your child's lead. Again, this is not about forcing them to do something they don't want to do. This is going to actually have a negative reaction, right? And they're going to be less likely to enjoy those things. You want it to come from them. You want them to take a deep breath because they are feeling inspired to do so. What you can do when you're having a hard moment is say, whew, I'm having a hard time. My body is feeling really stressed and tense. I'm going to take some time to relax, close my eyes, take a deep breath. And you do that, and slowly you start to talk about, oh, okay, I feel better. My mind is feeling clearer. I notice that. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable in my body, etc. So you just start to model and plant those seeds. But this is not about telling our child, go take a deep breath. Right? Go sit down, go read a book, right? Ideally, this is coming from them. Now, when they're feeling overwhelmed, you can absolutely, offer a suggestion. Oh, I notice we're having a hard moment right now. Do you think it would be helpful to, change and do something else, or go read a book, or maybe we should have a dance party and get up and move around a little bit? What do you think? Right? So it's collaborative. It's an invitation, but it's not done by force or like punishment, if you will. Okay, number 4 skill to start to teach your child before they hit 5 is the power of yet and how to persist despite difficulty, right? I can't do that yet. I don't know how to read yet. I don't know how to ride a bike yet. I can't draw that the way I envisioned it in my mind yet. Especially in the early years, you want to focus on creating a home environment that's empowering and warm and focused on connection, especially during times of stress and mishaps and intense feelings. You want your child to know that they can come to you when they make a mistake, that you're not going to judge them or punish them. And you also want to teach them that brains get stronger over time. You know, our brain is like a muscle, and the more we practice something, the better we get at it. And mistakes are how we learn. That is a big mantra that I'm always saying to my girls is mistakes are how we what? And they say learn. Mistakes are how we learn. We are learning when we make mistakes. So I'll point out, oh, yeah, you made a mistake there, but now you're about to learn something. So I spin it as a positive, and that is so important for their growth mindset. You want them to understand that learning is not linear. It's not a straight line to the top. And there's, inevitable ups and downs and dips and grooves that happen along the way. And that is good. That is a part of the process. That is nothing to fear. It has nothing to do with our capabilities or who we are as a person, right? As long as we can see it as the path to growth, right? As long as we approach it with that mindset. So you want to use everyday experiences. So some examples of everyday experiences that happen that are crucial learning moments for your child are whenever they're faced with a challenge or they're learning a new skill like potty training, riding a bike, reading, drawing, or whenever they make a mistake like they spill a drink or they react on impulse and they whack their sister. Those are opportunities for growth. Also, whenever they share intense feelings or there's a conflict that they're going through either with a peer or a sibling or with you, or they're having trouble with listening, right? And they're not being as cooperative. If we as the parent can see these everyday moments and conflict and mistakes and mishaps as opportunities for growth, then we will help our child see it in that way as well. And number 5 skill to teach your child before they hit the age of 5 is how to contribute to their family and their community in meaningful ways, right? Young children already love to be helpful. So it's about being intentional about inviting them on ways to get involved, whether it is unloading the dishwasher or feeding the pet or watering the plants or picking up trash. Help them get involved and point out your appreciation and gratitude for their contribution. This is how they're going to see that they have value and importance in the family as well as the community. Now, you can start chores or like what I like to call, family jobs or family offerings. You can start this as early as 1, right? If they can walk, they can go and pick up something and put it in the trash, right? If they can walk and pick up the toy, the idea is they can walk and pick up some trash and they would love to. That's the thing. They don't see it in this way. They see it as helping out. And so getting them involved in the early years is going to do wonders for the years to come. Now, I have videos on like how to get our child more involved in chores if you're struggling with motivation. So I'll go ahead and link that down below. I also have a free chore checklist that comes with age appropriate chore ideas as well as a chore chart just to help keep everybody organized and accountable. So you can go to themomspsychologist.com/chores to download that free checklist. And just keep in mind that development takes time. Development is relational. What we're doing in the early years is we are planting these seeds, and just know it takes time, but with consistency and patience, your child will pick up on these skills. So again, in summary, you want to teach your child how to understand and express their feelings, how to assert their body boundaries, how to cope and different coping skills they can try out, the power of yet and how to see mistakes and failure in a positive way, and then how to contribute to their family and their community in meaningful ways. So let me know down in the comments if you're tuning in on YouTube what skills you're currently struggling with when it comes to teaching your child, and that will inspire future episodes. And thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.